Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sticking around. We've got a friend of the show, Joe Grandanette, who is running the primary, which is next week, June 7th. I believe the polls close at 9, 8. Does anybody know? I think it's 9 o'clock. It's usually 9 o'clock because what happens, Joe, is when we're doing these Tuesday shows, I got to rush back across town to the north side over Union Park to get to my polling spot, and they're always open, so it's got to be 9 o'clock.
Well, they're open in the morning. If you weren't such a lush and layabout, you could get up at 7.
I know. When you work 11 hours 5 days a week instead of taking Fridays off like this guy over here, sometimes it gets a little tough.
It does get tough. Those Friday afternoons laying around by the pool. I'll tell you what, I got to watch the sun. I have to make sure I'm properly covered. Not for me, but for the neighbors, because nobody wants to see that. I'm telling you.
But so you've got as Pat said that you had an interesting way of campaigning. So what has been sort of your most successful and maybe your biggest challenge in campaigning in the district these last 6 months?
Well, I'll tell you, I go to businesses. I got over 2,300 signatures to get on the ballot. I walk into businesses. I get my little red card, introduce myself, and go from business to business and strip mall to strip mall and introduce myself. And I did this all around the 16 counties, and I had help. I also had help get the signatures, and that's how I campaign too. And I find out what pancake festivals are going on this weekend, and I went up to I went out to the Gold Star Museum. I went up to had a parade in Indianola. I went to I go to convenience stores and talk to all the convenience stores at night. I go to bars and restaurants. Mostly bars, and I'm born and raised here in Des Moines, so I know quite a few people, and so wherever there are people, that's where I go, and I introduce myself, and most people are very gracious, and you go there with a smile and introduce yourself, and some people like to talk.
You know what this reminds me of? Like Joe has my life and your life. You go to the bars and hang out there.
I do.
I go to convenience stores and parades. So Joe's doing the work of two men.
So what you're saying, like one of your biggest strengths maybe is your energy that you get out. You don't have problem mixing it up. What would be one of the bigger challenges you've had?
Well, I got a wife and a daughter at home. And
that right there is a challenge.
That's a challenge, not being with my baby daughter, but that's okay. I'm sure she'll understand when she gets a little older. And if I'm elected into Washington D.C., I took 6 months out of her life to get to Washington to represent many people and do what's right for our country. And so she'll appreciate that when she gets a little older to understand it. Right now, she's just 3 years old. So, and that's a big challenge. Mm-hmm. But I'm retired now, so it's given me a lot more time to go out and campaign on my own. And my wife spent some time in China this winter, so I didn't have to worry about that. But she's been back. But that still hasn't. I said I'm going out, and she says fine, and she understands. And she once I married her, she became a good Republican. She understands. She's from China. And she understands the Chinese way government, and she likes the Republicans and what they're all about. And I didn't have to tell her anything. It's just what she's researched and figured out on her own that she likes Republicans. So,
well, and that's a good story. You married well if you married a Republican. I'm just letting you know. And she married well because she married a Republican.
Yeah.
What has been your most? Well, I know I have my stories from the road. What has been your most interesting person you met or most interesting story you have from your candidacy? Hang on, let me save that question.
Okay.
I want to know how you get those wonderful sign spots.
Oh, well,
how do you do that? I had to pay people to put signs up. My own dad had to give him $20 a sign to do that. I'm just clowning, but
well, I know a lot of people, but they believe in Joe Grandanette, and I get a phone call here or there, and then I've done my homework, getting all the because I got the signatures myself. I went out every night, every day.
By the way, you were supposed to call me back to tell me when I was supposed to help you with that.
Oh, well, did I die?
You didn't call me back.
I must have been too busy. I don't know. I apologize.
You're out there busting the hump. Going to bars and everything else.
Well, a lot of people, because of the things I've done in my life, I had a business. I taught school and coached, and I'd run into people. Joe, give me a yard sign. I'll have one of those. Yes, sir. And that's how it works. And so, and I just got a phone call today, and her name was Mary Jo. How come I don't get one of these yard signs, Joe? I says, I got them in the trunk of my car. I apologize. And so that's how I do it. And it's kind of, it feels good that they want a yard sign. They believe in me. And it makes me feel good that they represent me because it's in their yard, it's in their home, and they believe in who I am as a person, and they want me to win. And that's that feels good about that. So
have you felt that your message has penetrated most deeply in Polk County or out in the rural areas more?
Well, when you go to Southwest Iowa, they're all Republicans, and so it's easy to campaign there. I mean, if you tell them you're a Republican, that's the first thing I introduce myself, and I'm running for U.S. Congress, and I'm a Republican. And then I say in the same breath, I says, sometimes that helps me, sometimes it doesn't help me. But in Southwest Iowa, most people are Republicans, and so it's an easy talk and visit. And then they got to get to know Joe the person, and and I give them my card, and it says all the things I believe in on the back of the card. And then if they want to get into issues, and of course, if they do follow politics, they do follow House District 3, they know all about David Young and how he's voted. And you're challenging him, good. I don't know anything about you, but I'm voting for you.
Any sort of more mainstream resistance, and I say mainstream basically because it's mainstream to support the incumbent. Any mainstream resistance from Republicans around Des Moines?
Some, but that's okay. That's fine. It's competition. I'm not afraid of that. Hey, David Young's the incumbent, and so he's got his people. He's entrenched, and he knows a lot of people. He worked for Grassley, so no matter how he's voted, the people are still going to follow him.
I'm nervous for you, Joe, because I know that Grassley and him still talk, and if you ever see an older looking guy on two lawnmowers chained together driving slow past your house, you might call the cops first, but maybe give my office a call and say we got to get a restraining order or something.
Hey, I need my lawn mowed every once in a while. So I hope he doesn't.
Joe.
He would do it senatorially. Is what he would.
I hope he doesn't charge me too much.
I will tell you, that's always Joe looking at the bright side. Hey, if I have him driving by, I hope they mow more.
And weed eater, and got a weed eat too.
You can't leave it half done.
Let me ask you this: have you talked to any of the Republican political establishment about your run? Have you talked to any of them?
As far as
like Branstad, Kim Reynolds.
Respectfully, they say hello, hi Joe, and that's about how the conversation goes.
Oh yeah,
that's all it goes, and that's fine, and I understand.
Never talked to Brad Zahn at all?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Absolutely. Brad Zahn is a Joe Grandanette fan.
I imagine he is. So, because our super friend of the show, Brad Zahn, is a maverick in the truest sense. So, who's the most interesting person you've met out there so far? Besides, of course, us.
Most interesting person out there. Wow, that's I got to think about that for a little bit.
Well, we have 15 seconds.
Well, you know what? There was a guy in a tire shop, and I don't know what town it was, and he was fixing a tire. It's somewhere in Southwest Iowa, and he was fixing a tire, and I go up there into his shop, and I said, hi. He goes, what do you want? Don't you see I'm working? I says, yes, sir. I says, I apologize. I'm running for Congress. You are? He says, well, what are you doing here? He says, well, I'm trying to get a few votes. He says, well, are you a Democrat or are you a Republican? I says, well, I'm a Republican. Well, you are? Where are you from? Des Moines? I said, yes, sir. And you're a Republican? There's no Republicans in Des Moines. I said, well,
we hide out in the suburbs.
I said, so we had and he says, well, tell me a little bit about you. And so, you know what? I kind of like you. He says, you have guts enough to come into my shop here while I'm working. He says, that takes a lot of And so I think I won over a voter there. And
Oh, that's great. That's great.
so that was a good conversation. You know?
All right, we are up against the last segment. We have enjoyed our time with Joe Grandanette. We're going to finish out the show with him, getting more anecdotes from the road and what his unique political stances and strategies are going to be, and final words to the voters of the 3rd District. We want to thank everybody for tuning in, because without you, we couldn't do what we do. Thanks, everybody. We'll be back